Hello and welcome back to ShineTalk with me, Martin Shine. Thanks for joining me, and we're going to move swiftly on to today's guest. It's all things when it comes to acting, creativity, that side of things, and performing. Welcome to the one and only Lexi Wolfe. Hello, Lexi.
Buongiorno, how are you?
Oh, that was very loud, but oh dearie Lord, wow, it's very loud where you are in that part of the world.
Did I just bust your speakers? I'm sorry.
It was more my ears, but there you go. Hey, right now let's see. There we go. How are you today? All good?
I'm very well.
Excellent.
It's a nice morning up here in Sheffield, where I am at the moment.
It's
so there we are.
Surprisingly good in the UK for this time of year.
Yeah, no, there've been frosts up here, but at the same time, it's quite crisp and nice when you go outside, so it's not too unmanageable at the moment. What's it like where you are?
Very, very sunny, but slightly on the cold side, but we really can't complain. Okay. All things considered, it's very, very mild for
saying it's December tomorrow, yeah.
Exactly. Scary. Oh, wow. Anyway, Lexi. This is Lexi Wolfe, actress, as we can see. Tell us all about it. Where do we start?
Where do we start?
I guess we start a few years ago, because life didn't begin like most young mortals in the UK solely, did it? That's what I'm trying to say. What happened, Lexi? Explain.
So when I was 2 years old, for the first time I went out to live in Pakistan when I was that age. Went out there for a year. Came back and was a normal, regular kid for a while. And then at age 7, I went back out again with my mother and brother, and we were out there for 3 years that time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, life in Pakistan, it's got to be a little bit different.
It was quite. It was a bit of a culture shock when we first got there. And it's, but I think kids are quite resilient. And as a 7-year-old, you just kind of get on with it, and those were my surroundings, this is my new surroundings, and you do just adapt. So yeah, where we specifically were was a place called Multan, which wasn't quite as westernized, I would say, as some of the other cities in Pakistan, such as Lahore. But I have fond memories, so there we are.
Yeah. Now again, you moved there when you were 2, then you moved back to the UK, and then you moved back at 7 years old. Now, before you moved back at 7, there was that gap, of course, being back in the UK. And even at that young age, I mean, what did you notice immediately? It must have been a bit of a culture shock at that age. So how did you manage, and what were the things that you remember now that really impacted at that time?
Things that I remember now, looking back on it. I think that sort of friendship was very different between the two places, and I think that was a lot to do with culture and such forth. I remember that there was in Britain, I had a lot of sleepovers, and my sort of social network felt bigger. And then when I went out to Pakistan, it's particularly where we were. I don't think this is true of Pakistan as a whole then or now. But it was quite sort of secular, and there was a lot less of that, and you had parties and such forth, but that was the biggest time at which you got all your friends together. And I think I'm talking also as a female as well as just a kid in Pakistan. I think it was a thing that nice girls just went home, did their homework, went to bed type of thing. Even at that young age, not too much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's that obviously. And again, at that young age, I mean, you're learning, you're growing, you're learning yourself, and you're learning about all the things around you. So again, it can be a bit confusing on the mind, putting it in those words, I guess. So interesting times.
I suppose so, yeah. But I didn't really feel that so much. I mean, again, at that age, you just kind of accept what's going on around you. And it just seemed like, okay, this place is really hot and humid, and we dress like this here. Oh, now we're back home, and this place is a little bit colder, and this is how we talk here. That type of thing. That was it.
Now, what's the one thing you miss
about Pakistan?
Not being in Pakistan, absolutely, yeah.
Do you know what? And this has been going around my head recently. I wish that Britain had a different throughout the seasons, the same way that Pakistan does. Because over here, as we've seen this summer, of course, the sun will go down in the summer, sort of like after 9 o'clock, and then it gets to this time of year in December, and at 4 o'clock it's getting quite dark. Whereas in Pakistan, in the summer, the sun went down about 8 o'clock, and in the winter it went down about 6. So there was much less of a difference. And that was really nice because you just generally got more daylight. And I really enjoyed that because it made you feel like you could do more with your day. Yeah, even back then.
Exactly. More hours in the day, literally, which is why obviously our clocks change still to this day because of agriculture, farming back in the day.
Yes.
But it's interesting you say that because I've always thought about this, and obviously if you live closer to the equator, less difference when it comes to the seasons and the daylight changing as well.
Yes.
And you know, you hear these, I'm relating that to the stories you hear, for example, that people live in, I think Holland in particular, where it's a very flat country, so you hear people kind of, their mindset is just, things become dull quicker because there's less of this sort of yin yang sort of difference, you know. So there's that to consider as well when it comes to night and day being the same length in some context, I guess. But that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm more than a little bit pagan. So the seasons and sort of night and day, the moon, etc., always have a little bit more meaning to me. So no, it's interesting.
The solstice and all, absolutely. Yeah, very, very true. I'd forgotten that. I didn't know that cool fact about you myself. But absolutely. Moving on though to your education, because you came back to the UK, and from 11 you were in school in the UK, and then you went through the education and the process, and then after that it was a case of studying what you love.
Yeah, no, I was very, very lucky when I came back from Pakistan. I was admitted into a private girls' school, which was, at the time it was, it was different, and I'd been through some stuff in Pakistan, so sort of adjusting was a little bit difficult. But, and at that age, everything is proving slightly difficult. You're getting to 11 and things are starting to get weird for you. But I look back and it was one of the sort of best times of my life. I had a lot of very close friends, which was really nice. And it felt very family-like. And I think that's what's missing from a lot of schools these days. So I had a great time there. Somehow, in my last year of being at Brantwood, I was deputy head girl. I don't know that I was a very good one. I was always skipping out to do theatre stuff. Even back then, I was like an avid actress. That was everything I wanted to do. So I was lucky in the sense that I always was able to get good grades, but I didn't study as hard as maybe I should have. I might have got even better had I properly applied myself. But I was so busy already knowing back then what I wanted to do with my life and my career and such forth. And I was a member of several community and young persons theatre groups in Sheffield. Yeah. And once I'd left education, once I got my A-levels, I went for a quick gap year in Italy, came back after that. Then I started studying creative and performing arts in Liverpool. After which I went on to get a master's somehow in acting from the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts, which was again a fantastic time in my life.
Liverpool, eh? There's a place. Yeah, you went over there. I was going to question you about that and have a brief chat about Liverpool. Yeah, and obviously the history in the town. I'm not sure how it sort of.
Have you ever been?
Yeah, I've been very, very briefly a couple of times to Liverpool, actually. Yeah, never got to the Cavern, though, and I haven't done all the Beatles thing, but certainly I have been there, and it's certainly got a great party atmosphere and vibe,
there's a wonderful community vibe in Liverpool. I miss it quite a bit, actually, and not just because I went to university there. I did genuinely love the place, and I think that Liverpool in many ways almost sells itself too short in terms of the Beatles. They make that one of their main things. There's so much more than just the Beatles. They've got, I think, one of the, how they have the gateways, the Chinese gateways, because they've got a big Chinatown there. They've got one of the biggest of those, I think, outside of China. I seem to remember reading somewhere, and that's beautiful.
Okay.
They've got so much in terms of performance arts as well. They are so culture driven, And, that's probably why they got, in 2008, they were the capital of culture.
Yeah,
Very
I
much
remember
deserved,
that.
I
Absolutely.
thought.
It was definitely the city of
and
culture.
I was there for that, so that was a great time as well.
Yeah, I bet. And of course, it's the one city that I know that's got 2 cathedrals. Okay, that's not too common.
Yes, literally at the end of one long road. There's this road called Hope Street, and then on one end you've got Paddy's Wigwam, as it is affectionately known, and that's the Catholic cathedral. And then at the other side, you've got this beautiful Anglican cathedral, the name of which escapes me. And by the Anglican cathedral, you've got this wonderful graveyard, which is in a quarry, which is where I used to work with the Liverpool ghost tours, and that was fun as well. So yeah, amazing place overall.
That's right. You were a tour guide as well. I remember now. You just reminded me. You briefly mentioned that to me as well. Yeah, doing the tours, the ghostly and the haunted tours of Liverpool.
Lots of fun.
Brilliant. Yeah, I recommend it to anyone. You want to visit somewhere in the UK away from the main city, London. Head up to Liverpool. Definitely.
Totally. Absolutely. Wonderful place. You will not regret it. And the people of Liverpool are the friendliest in the world. And I randomly, when I was living in Sheffield, you feel kind of safe, but as a young woman, like sometimes you have to walk somewhere alone when it's dark and you feel unsafe. I felt even safer in Liverpool. I don't know why. I just felt like it just feels like a safe city because people do talk to one another. And there is a nice, just general friendly vibe that I don't know if I've experienced anywhere else. Not quite like that, anyway.
Definitely reminded me. I remember, the scenario when you're in your 20s and heading to bars and that sort of thing. If you're on your own, certainly in London and other cities, maybe, often it's not easy to talk to a stranger and people won't speak to you if you're not someone that's on their Facebook list. Okay, but but in Liverpool, absolutely. I found that I remember one specific. I've got a vision. I was just somewhere and just people turning to you and just hi. I mean, it wasn't just because they were totally drunk, for example. So
people will just generally start talking with you in places like Liverpool. Sheffield's where I grew up as well. I got some of that, but Liverpool, they don't care. They'll just start talking to anybody. It's brilliant. It's such a good atmosphere. I miss Liverpool very much.
Oh well, I'm sure you'll be back there sooner than you think.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Now, I'd love to take a theatre show there at some point. That'd be great.
Now there you are. I see what you did there because absolutely. Because we're moving on now to this theatre work and your recent work. But tell me about writing. If we just move on to that and recent writing, for example.
Yeah. I
sort of
started writing. I mean, I've been kind of writing as long as I've been acting, really. But let me just change hands a second so I can hold the camera. Ouch. Am I coming up okay there?
You're fine. You're fine. It's all good. Okay. It's all good. Carry on. You got it's multitasking. You know all about that being a one-woman show, which we'll come to as well after. But writing.
Yeah. Well, I've been writing about as long as I've been acting, but I never took my writing seriously for ages. And I don't know why, but I kind of sold myself into this. No, I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer. I'm an actress who just happens to write every now and again. And it wasn't until about 2013, 2014 that I started to get real encouragement, getting feedback from people saying, "Look, you're a writer and you need to write more." So the first thing I wrote professionally, in inverted commas, was a one-woman play called Witch in the Woods. I did that after I saw Mingled Yarn Theatre do a performance of Harry the King, which is also Henry V, Shakespeare's, up at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in 2014. And I thought, well, if they can do so much, given that, they've got this big theatre script they've had to chop down, and they've literally got 2 actresses, one playing Harry the King, and the other one playing everything else. Mm-hmm. So I thought, if they can do that with so little that they have, what can I do? And it was just really inspiring. So I went on and wrote my first thing, Witch in the Woods, nicely received. I finished taking that places. I will finish in January of this coming year of 2017. So it'll have had almost 3 years of life, which is good.
That's good.
And then since then I've been writing more sort of things with other people in it, as it were. I'm still writing one-woman shows like Mrs. Oscar Wilde, which I'm touring at the moment, and into 2017. But I'm writing a mini series at the moment for TV, and there's a couple of other things, including a short that I've got in the pipeline. The first thing that I wrote that got turned into anything filmic was called Learning to Talk, which was a short I wrote a good couple of years ago now. And I sort of sent it along to my partner at the time, and he said, we've got to make this. So, somehow we did. We got some great actors in, and I directed and my partner co-directed. That was nice. And we've both been nominated and won a couple of awards, which has been good. Just in this past, let me figure it out. 2 months ago, we got Best Actress in a Leading Role, which was me, which was awesome. And also we got Best Screenplay, so that was good.
Best Actress Award, that sounds something, quite an achievement. Tell me more.
Well, yeah, this was my first proper award, as it were, in terms of, before then I'd gotten a couple of nominations. And this time last year I got, I went to New York for the Short Film Awards where we were nominated. Andy for Best Actor, me for Best Supporting Actress. Yeah. Then this year in July I got nominated, I got down to the last three, which was cool. For Best Female Actor at the Buxton Fringe with Mrs. Oscar Wilde. And then finally, I even said this on my social media. I was like, right, because I've been nominated twice, rule of three, this next one that I'm nominated for, I will get. And then I got it. So I was like, oh my goodness, I was right.
You see the laws of attraction there, Lexi, and self-belief, and manifesting
Absolutely.
These things. Seriously,
yes, definitely.
I'm
a big believer in the law of attraction, and using that has been life-changing, especially for this past year. While everything has just sort of built up, and all of a sudden it kind of feels like my life in itself is kind of growing legs and. Going even further than I thought it would, so it's really exciting.
Well, there's two things there. I think number one, you mentioned previously about Edinburgh, and of course, as again, who's to say that you couldn't achieve what you could see others achieving? At the end of the day, we really do, through pressures around us for whatever reason, and the way society is, we're kind of conditioned not to believe in ourselves. But if you just believe in yourself and do it because you can,
there's so much more that you can achieve. And it really annoys me, not with other people, I hasten to add, but more for myself, because I look back and I drank in too much of what other people were saying, and even I inferred a lot from other people in terms of what my own potential was, what my capability was, and well, this is what's gone before, so this must be all that I can do. And the less I listened to that, and the more I listened to my own inner voice that was my inspiration and that told me, no, I've got more in me, there's more I can do, there's, I can go for longer, I can, do this better, I've got this time frame, I can do this, but I'm not going to just do it, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. The more I started listening to that, it's been the past year that my life has really become magical, and breaking free of those bonds, I think, because they are quite bond-like if you think about them. They do keep you in bondage for, when people are saying or intimating, well, I can't do that, so what makes you so special? And just getting on with it. There's magic in that. There's magic in self-belief, I honestly think.
I think what you just said there, in so many words you just said there, others hold you back.
Yes.
Yeah? And
they don't mean to, and that's the thing. I've met a lot of people. I have a lot of people still in my life who at different points have held me back. The difference now is how I react to when they do that. Because, at one point I wanted advice. I wanted, parent figures who knew better than me. I sort of wanted to know, is this the right thing to do? Should I do this? But now the less I listen to them and the more I trust myself, the better things have become for me. But, a lot of these people who, do that to us are literally have our best interest at heart. They don't want us to get hurt. They don't want us to, bite off more than we can chew. They don't want us to get into situations we can't handle, which is fine. But at the same time, they're not leaving us that much breathing room. But it's all about how you react to what these people are doing. It's your responsibility. You know, you have no responsibility over what happens to you, and sort of like, and how other people treat you, apart from what you accept. And it's all about how you react to what is dealt to you.
Yeah, bordering on the lines there as well is when someone upsets you. Is it because you've simply allowed them to upset you? That sort of thing, you know, and the reaction.
This is true.
This is fascinating. This is a whole other podcast. And this is one of the reasons that ShineTalk exists.
Which I'll happily do. I do a lot of stuff on the law of attraction, as you know, so...
Brilliant.
So yeah, I'm happy to do that.
But you know, again, on this thing, you took the words literally right out of my mouth when you said, you know, they're not intentionally doing this to the people around you. And
they're not.
The coincidence, actually, literally about 48 hours ago, I was reading something to do, this motivational, entrepreneurial sort of stuff, and there are two types of mindset, brains involved when moving forward in business or trying to. And I seem to recall the technical term. One's the wow brain, the other one's the owl brain. And basically, the owl brain is the one which is always comparing to the past. When you've made those small mistakes, it hasn't quite worked out, and there's only been a little effect, and then you keep reminding yourself, was it worth it? You know, it wasn't getting me to, or I didn't get to where I would need to be. But of course, there's the wow brain, which is the one that says, well, hold on a minute, I was there, I got a little bit to there, so if I
now I'm here.
Now I'm here. I have moved on. I've experienced something different.
That's it.
Yeah, okay, it's getting more positive. Just stick with it. It might be a bit painful. It might be a bit more time consuming, but you know what? Things are changing, and they're moving in the positive direction. And fascinating stuff. Anyway, now tell me, what with these awards and all that sort of thing, these new opportunities, what is on the horizon right now?
There's one or two things that I can talk about. There's one or two things that I can't.
For sure. But just before you move totally on to all new things, currently, of course, you were talking about what you're involved with, what you've written, what you're acting in right now.
Yes. Well, at the moment, I'm about to, in 2017, I'm going to start properly touring my one-woman show, Mrs. Oscar Wilde, which is a show dedicated to the all too brief life of Constance Lloyd, who was the wife of Oscar Wilde. A lot of people, when I say Mrs. Oscar Wilde, will instantly sort of come back with, oh, was he married? And absolutely he was. I think they were married for about, if memory serves, 13, maybe 14 years up until she passed, rather untimely. She wasn't even 40 when she passed. But she was a fascinating woman, led a fascinating life, and at the same time, as you can imagine, was somewhat long-suffering with a husband like Oscar. So that's what I'm doing. I took that to the Buxton this year, 2016, and
Buxton Fringe,
and it's also literally just shown at the London Theatre. So in the new year, in 2017, it's going to be probably going back to the Buxton. Brighton have just said yes to us, so we are more than likely going to be on at the Marlborough Theatre in Brighton during the Fringe there. And if circumstances allow, I will go to the Edinburgh with it.
Woo!
If not, I might go to Camden. But I'm gonna visualize going to the Edinburgh. So that would be good.
Yeah, that will be very cool.
Yes.
Even I've been there myself a couple of times. Can't wait to get back. I'm going to try 2017. I hope really is the year to get back to Edinburgh and the Fringe up there. It's awesome with all the street performers and just generally another place that has a great vibe and great people.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. No, it's absolutely great. It's one of the most atmospheric places to be. There's always something going on, and everybody's slightly artistic around that time, so it's great to meet new people and to just take a chance and say, all right, stick a pin in that. Okay, we'll go see how that goes.
This is what we want to hear, progress, positivity, and again, as we said, if you put your mind to it, if you believe in yourself, and the thing is as well, that is it. That's a key one as well. I think people should know. Even it might be subconsciously and subtly, but you're giving off these messages to everyone when you're speaking with them. But if you don't 100% believe in what you're talking about and doing, they're going to catch on to that, But as soon as
they're going to cotton on,
But as soon
but the vibe you give out of self-belief and being like, it's okay, I'm here, I'm aware of what I can do, I can help you with this. Why don't we work together? Type of thing. People feed off that. I think there's this wonderful vibe that you just put out. People want to buy into you, as it were, the minute you sort of put out that vibe, which is great. It's almost infectious. Just living a good life and being happy with yourself itself is infectious, and people want to, go, well, what's going on with you? What's this little secret bit of information that and we all have our own little secret, aha moments and stuff.
Definitely.
But that's yeah.
No, and that is.
Is the sun getting too much in my face?
It's funny you should say that. I can see the sun has come out, but there you go. That's better. You see, as I said, multitasking, all sorts here. You've got to be the talent, technical director, lighting, unbelievable.
The lighting person, I'm hoping the sun will pop behind a cloud in a second. Though it's very clear up here at the moment.
You're going to end up certainly looking a little bit more tanned than when we started. We'll go back to the first and last frame on this video and
be like, she looks like a lobster now because I'm Celtic as hell. No. So I go red very easily.
Now, where are you heading? Just to wrap things up here, ultimately, what is your main goal and your main ambitions here? If you could do anything now, and where are you focusing to be, say, in 12 months or, well, you tell us.
I want to be I want to do much more film and TV work, because I love the theatre, and I love the creative juice, if you like, that I get from making my own stuff, being in my own stuff, kind of directing myself, getting other people involved type of thing in terms of the technical side, and going to new places, meeting new people, and I'm kind of doing that by myself. But at the same time, I know that the next step is to get that onto the, national and international platform type of thing. And I've always loved TV and film. I've been in a few by now, but I'm ready to kick it up a notch type of thing. And I think that's what's 2017. The main focus is going to be about my acting work and doing a lot more writing towards that as well. So...
Brilliant. Yeah.
That's the plan.
Excellent. Yeah, all about being laser focused, as someone I know.
Absolutely. I think you've got to, even if you're only committing it to yourself, the minute you say to yourself, I'm going to do this, this is what I want, and this is what it's going to look like, and this is what it's going to feel like, you kind of become accountable to yourself, and that really helps just make you break through glass ceilings or whatever it is that you have that is holding you back before.
I don't have glass ceilings here, but certainly I understand the metaphor.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. Listen, Lexi, as always, it's been fantastic. Our first podcast, we finally got there.
Thank you very much for having me on. This has been great. I'm glad we actually got to.
We haven't been having you on, but I know what you mean. Okay, it's been real, that's for sure. Not having anyone on. Now, if people want to know more about you and anything, obviously you got your IMDb. I must mention that, because although here we've seen your website on here, it is. I guess that is the place to go, is it, to find out more?
Yeah, the best place for all my sort of TV and film stuff at the moment is just www.imdb.me/Lexi Wolfe, as in my name, LEXIWOLFE. Wolf is in the animal with an E at the end is the best way to remember that. And I've got my website, of course. And I'm on.
They can see it on the screen now.
It's just LexiWolfe.com.
It is with an E on the end, as you said, and just remember, Wolf.
No E on the end of Lexi, but it's on the end of Wolf.
Right.
So
okay. Excellent. Listen, again, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to wrap up now.
Thank you for having me.
And we will definitely talk again, as you were saying. You wouldn't mind the other topics when it comes to laws of attraction.
Absolutely. Happy to talk about that. Groovy stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I will see you soon then.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye for now.
Take care.
Thank you. And don't forget, everyone, it's ShineTalk.